What's going on, everybody? Glad you're here. You are listening to the Genuine Leadership Shift. I'm Austin James Crawford, and we're just here to create a space to talk about some real leadership, hard truths, and the work it takes to do the right thing and be a great person. Let's get into it.
This is the Genuine Leadership Shift, and I am Austin James Crawford, and today we are actually going to talk a little bit about where leadership begins, and that's at home. This episode, it's got a little bit of vulnerability in it. I think some raw foundation. I'm going to touch on sobriety, touch on leadership, pulling apart some boundaries, and talking about the people that matter most in our lives. Looking forward to it. Welcome to episode number 1. And here, I know that we're just super excited about where this is all headed, and I appreciate you taking a listen. So today, I want to take an opportunity, I think, to start where leadership really begins. And sometimes that's actually not the workplace, and it's not in a meeting, and it's actually not inside a playbook, but it's at home with the people that you love the most. The people that you can't live without, who you are responsible for teaching how to live without you someday. That's father leadership, that's husband leadership. And honestly, it's the hardest, most honest form of leadership, I think, that you're ever going to practice. When your home sees everything, your strengths, your insecurities, your temper, your patience, your failures, your growth, your trauma, and your healing, there's no title there to hide behind. There's no uniform that you have to put on. There's literally no performance. It's ultimately just you, raw, exposed, and real. Truth is with this is that I didn't step into this from a place of perfection. I have actually stepped into this from pain. So the early years, I think, in leadership, before I was ready, there was definitely a time in my life when I didn't know my own value, when my confidence was a little bit muted, when addiction, insecurity, and internal battles, they stole my presence, they stole my clarity, and they stole the best parts of who I wanted to be as both. Some of that I regret, not because I didn't love my family, but because maybe I wasn't available, or maybe as intentional as they deserved me to be. I was a little bit too lost, I think, in my own fight to give them what they need from me. And that's the part that no one really prepares you for. You become a father, you become a husband long before you figure yourself out. You lead a home long before, you even know how to lead yourself. But I guess somewhere along the way, something shifts and you get kind of tired of who you've been. You get tired of just surviving. You get tired of letting your pain set the temperature for your home. And it's at that moment really where I think leadership takes hold and leadership begins. And I guess talking about where leadership really begins, I think I want to dive a little bit backwards into a few things, and then help that kind of lay foundations, I believe, for what it takes to really become a better man, a better leader. And some of that falls in line with my sobriety. Sobriety changed my leadership. It changed my presence. I can tell you that it definitely changed my marriage. It changed the way that my kids look at me, and I think the way that they even lean in. Not because I became any softer, but honestly because I became, I think, more clear, more grounded, maybe a little bit more intentional. Actually, definitely a lot more intentional, because it takes intention and focus, I think, to navigate that. I also became, I think, far more capable of loving people the way that they needed to be loved, because I started to love myself. In all of this clarity, something powerful really kind of comes through to me, and it's saying yes. Saying yes all of the time isn't love. Avoiding conflict is not kindness. And looking the other way is definitely not leadership. I think what it is holding boundaries creates leadership. Teaching some discipline creates leadership. And like we've been talking about, choosing presence over escape. That's leadership. Me watching two kids grow stronger, more confident, more self-aware, because I've started to finally hold the line a little bit better at home. I think that is just literally one of the greatest privileges in my life. Another honor and privilege too, I think, is being a husband. I have had, the privilege of navigating that, and not without adversity, not without complications, not without a lot of pain, and but a lot of beautiful as well comes into play here. And learning how to be a leader as a husband, I think, is a foundation that extends beyond your four walls of home too, beyond the four walls that we have here. And I don't know, just want to reflect on that too. I think that that's a mirror, right? That's a mirror that you cannot avoid or run away from. Yes, being a father teaches you responsibility, but I think being a husband teaches you a little bit about accountability. I'm sure my wife would agree, but you hear your tone much differently when it's reflected back to you. You get to learn some of your patterns. You definitely get an opportunity to see your blind spots and just some poor emotional habits. Your escape mechanisms and your excuses all kind of show up in that mirror. Marriage will definitely show you faster than anything than going to work ever will. But that relationship and everything I've navigated there has taken time, a lot of real time, for me to become, I think, the husband that I knew that I should have been from the beginning. It's still a journey that I'm on. Learning how to communicate more honestly, learning to try to lead with some presence instead of putting so much pressure on somebody else. It's taught me how to show up a little bit more consistently instead of chaotically. To learn how to give is a big factor here. Giving without keeping score. And then also learning how to really love and what love looks like without putting up a shield or treating love strictly as an emotion. Love is a commitment. I'm not perfect though. I am getting better, and better, in my opinion, is the work, right? That's what we're all trying to do, better today than we were yesterday. So I'm happy to be navigating through that. Leading a team, though, is one thing, and leading a home is kind of a different thing. Home sometimes it's a lot more emotionally driven. It's one of those places that I think is closest to your soul. And I also believe that those failures at home almost sting just a little bit differently. We're taught to run into challenges, run towards failure, and operate and push through. And I think that, yeah, without failure, we can't have appreciation for the wins, and we can't have appreciation for our successes. But I think, yeah, when it's emotionally driven and closer, to your inner side, they definitely do sting a little bit differently. Messing up at work, you pivot, right? You adjust, you get it done, and you correct. But I think there's a little bit of an echo sometimes that stays here at home when you mess up, right? When you mess up at home, that echoes, it reverbs. But you know what else I think stays around a little bit stronger is the growth and the repair and the redemption. So maybe this is a great place to continue to anchor my mission, right? To become the best man I possibly can be. So my wife and my kids can become the best versions of themselves. And then running synonymously into the workplace, right? Where you anchor a vision around that. And if you are the best man that you possibly can be at home, I think you can be the best man you possibly can be everywhere else. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying we need to be perfect. Honestly, the imperfect nature is sometimes in and of itself also something that is kind of perfect. But being present, don't be too controlling, be guiding. We're not protecting everybody or every one of our kids, from every fall. You got to create that space that it's okay that they fall down, bang their knee, and get beat up. That's where they learn to try and try again. And one of these days, they're not going to need me to stand in front of them because they're standing for themselves. And honestly, a lot of that's already started to take place. And as painful as it is, it's also beautiful to have watched that through my struggles and through my victories and doing my job better and doing my job right, they now have courage. They now have maybe a little stronger character. And hopefully they have confidence to continue to navigate this journey we call life and manage their own leadership and lead themselves well. That's exciting. I don't know. I know we're talking about, where the leadership foundation starts, and where the foundation lives. And I do truly believe that me learning how to be an amazing dad and an amazing husband, ultimately, it provides me a few things. It provides me an opportunity to take that forward to other people and give to them. And ultimately, it also helps me with something that's maybe a little bit selfish, but also part of my vision and part of my mission in life. And it's to leave a legacy. It's teaching the ones that you can't live without to ultimately live without you. And that's kind of what we're doing when we are leading in the workplace too. We should be teaching and coaching and training those that can stand on their own and those that can, forge through the troubles and knock down obstacles and win on their own. It doesn't always have to be with you, and that's not what makes you a great leader. And yes, there's some sadness and things that come along with watching your kids grow and not need you anymore. Same with, those that you lead in the workplace. But that's ultimately the goal, right? We want to see them win and see them thrive. I guess that's the assignment, right? That's the ache, and that's where the legacy comes in. Those people you can't live without are the same people you must teach how to live without you someday. I want my kids, right, to know how proud of them I am. I want them to know that they were never the reason I struggled. They were never the reason why I made bad choices. Honestly, they became part of the reason why I fought it out. And I want them, and I want my wife, and I want, honestly, all of you who are listening right now to know that that's my mission until the day that I die, is going to be just keep trying to be the best example that I can be in love, in leadership, how I evolve, how I show up. And maybe if they are listening to this and this resurfaces 10 years from now, right? I hope that they feel proud of who they are. I hope that they feel safe in their own skin. I hope that they have felt guided. I hope that they still feel loved. And I hope that they become more available and more present for their own families, if that's what happens. But just ultimately just present for the people that are within their proxy too. Leadership starts at home. Fatherhood, being a husband, it's definitely going to expose you more than you've ever wanted to be. But I think that it'll also empower you. The beauty here is in becoming. The beauty is in showing up, growing, some repair, definitely a lot of redemption. And so I think the focus here again is just, if you can lead well at home with honesty, with some boundaries, with a lot of grace, with consistency, then man, you can lead almost anywhere. I hope this makes sense to you. I hope this, hits where it needed to. I guess I really just wanted to take an opportunity to be vulnerable and to kind of share with you where I've come from, who I am. Would love to see some comments. If you want to share them, leave them, provide some feedback. If you want to know more, you know where to find me. But hopefully this episode connected with you. If it did, I would appreciate you sharing it. I do appreciate you guys following the show. Send a like. Definitely making sure that you've downloaded the episode and that you're following along so that you can find out what's next. Ultimately here, the goal is, like we tell everybody, just do the right thing and be a great person, and everything else in life is going to work out. Lead well at home. Lead elsewhere. Amazing.